Wait, the key thing I wanted to give away with this video, the sole reason why I wanted to give this video, not because I thought, oh, I'm so smart, I found the reason this happened. That wasn't the main part of the video, the main message of this video. The main message of this video was, or I wanted it to be anyway, if you have a snake that has retained a part of the clutch, don't panic, try to push it out immediately. Welcome back to a story episode. This week's episode is not a show Friday or a foundation explanation. I'm really looking forward to the second video of foundation explanation. But I had a female hognose snake that was not egg bound, but she retained a part of the clutch. And it all got resolved, and I wanted to show you all what happened, and in the end, not why I think it might happen, but a clue. Maybe I found a clue on why that happened. And I don't know if I can speak. If I speak for myself, I've only had that problem with one ball python, and I've made a lot of clutches. And I had a problem more with colubrids before roundhog serpents even existed. I also had a small collection of corn snakes, and I had a problem a couple of times with them as well. That they didn't lay the full clutch and some eggs stay behind, and most of the time it was pretty hard to get them out. So she laid the clutch, and then in the morning I checked to see if she laid some eggs, right? Because I knew she was going to lay. So I checked it, and she was laying a clutch. And then in the evening came back, pulled the lid again, and she didn't act like she was laying eggs, but it was clear she wasn't empty yet. And they usually also don't take a full day to lay their eggs. So I pulled the clutch, put them in the incubator, moistened up her egg box, really cleaned it up, moistened it up again, put it back so she can continue laying her eggs. And then the next morning, 2 eggs came out, and the rest was moving along further. Then I think it was 3 days nothing. So after the third day, I thought, well, I'm going to intervene. Opened at the top, there was a little egg in there. So that was all good, right? But she wasn't empty yet. So pulled away that egg, put her back again, and then around 3 days later, I shot a video because, I will show it here. This is a female hognose snake, as you can see. And she laid a clutch more than a week ago. But she didn't complete it. There was still some eggs left, as you can see here. And every time I think I'm going to intervene, another egg comes out. So this one came out the day before yesterday. Every 3 days or so, an egg comes out. And I used to have a very good reptile vet, but he's retired now. So if he wasn't retired, I would take her to the vet, and she gets some contractions inducers. It usually does the trick. I had that working for 2 times now, because last year I had a lot of infertile eggs, and the females had a lot of trouble getting them out. But I don't have that option anymore. At least not a reliable one. I don't know. I did, before I found that vet, I did a lot of calling around to the veterinarian places, but they all were willing to try something, but didn't really know how. So I did know that there was coming, right? So having issues and no vet around. And I also know that egg-bound can be more of a problem with colubrids than it can be with Python. So I was prepared for that. So I watched very closely how he did it, how he got the shots. I asked a lot of questions. So if need be, maybe I can just ask for the medicine and do it myself, or whatever with other vets if they are willing to do so, or willing to just cooperate with me when it gets more serious than that. But also, if the shots, the contraction inducers didn't work, we will put them under anesthesia, gas anesthesia, because it's quick and short working. And then he would inject it with lube, so it is more easy to push the eggs out, and then just we could just push the eggs out. I don't have that anesthesia, of course, and massaging the egg out is also not very uncommon to do when snakes are egg bound. But having the loop in there, I think, makes a lot of difference, because I tried to massage an egg out and it didn't work before in the past. But that's quite dramatic, right? Once you do that, I don't know, it's quite dramatic if you try to intervene. So every time I think, well, now I'm going to intervene, she pushes another egg out. So I also think that as long as she's doing great, I don't think intervening is not a good option. And you can see that egg is already at the very back, so I wouldn't be surprised. I think there's 2 more in, maybe 1, but I think 2. I wouldn't be surprised if I found another egg in here tomorrow. So I will let you, I will keep you updated. And then another 3 days later, when I thought, well, there was still the 1 or 2 eggs in there, as you could see in the video. I'm going to help her out with the lubrication and pushing the final egg out, or the final 2 eggs out. So I opened up the top, and there was that single egg. It was a single egg still left, and she got it out by herself. I didn't make a video, but I made a picture on it, and I will show it right now. What I also did is, because I knew there was only, I feed her before I shot the video. I fed her the day before that, because I thought maybe she was just really exhausted, right? She was just really exhausted and didn't have the energy to get the eggs out. So maybe if I feed her, I will give her some more energy, right? Help her out a little bit. And I also thought that might, if you need to poop, that might help, with the peristaltic movements. Maybe that could help her out disposing the egg. I don't know if that's the reason why the final egg did come out, because she also pooped after that final egg, or with the final egg, or during the final egg. Who knows? I wasn't there to witness it. But that was the thought. The thought was, put some food in her, maybe that will help her, give her some energy to finish laying this clutch, and maybe it could actually help to move it out. I also knew that I was going to intervene if it didn't work, and I also knew that I was able to do so, because during the whole time when I first spotted it, it was pretty far back. There was no egg near the cloaca, and then the next day it moved, and then the day after that some of the eggs got laid, and then the next egg wasn't at the cloaca yet, and then when I checked the next day, it moved back again. So there was still movement. The eggs weren't stuck. So I knew that I could help her out if I really needed to. So feeding her wouldn't be a problem. If you're not sure if you're able to help, feeding could be a problem, because she can get if the egg is stuck, the feces also can come out, right? And that's pretty problematic. You really want the feces to come out. So yeah, in the short video part, I've also talked about the vet and um, I think I didn't edit it out in the previous episode of Show Friday with the hognose snakes, but in case I did, last year I got a lot of problems with female hognose snakes retaining their clutches of part of the clutches because they had a lot of infertile eggs, and I think that has something to do with the hormonal part of it all. If the eggs aren't fertilized, maybe not all of the hormones get released, or not enough of the hormones get released to really help her. But that's just my hypothesis. It's not tested, or I didn't read it anywhere. I think that might be a good indication on why it's problematic. And every time I go to the vet with a snake who had a problem, he would first administer 2 shots, 1 shot of calcium and 1 shot of contraction inducers. And I asked what that calcium shot was for, and he said, well, sometimes it's the problem. A deficiency of calcium can be the problem for them not laying eggs. And I think that is the clue. I couldn't find it on the internet, but I didn't buy a book for reptile veterinarians, but my girlfriend gave it to me, which was very nice, because I showed her a picture of the book that he got, and I said, wow, that would be really awesome, and then she bought it for me as a gift. It is really hard to read if you're not a veterinarian. There were a lot of very difficult terms in there, but there's also a ton of knowledge in there. I forgot what I was going with it for, but yeah, I couldn't remember where my story was going exactly, but I do know the rough lines, so let's pick up from there. What I've been thinking is maybe the problems with the colubrids having some trouble, or sometimes having trouble laying their eggs, is because most of those snakes are active during the day. They are diurnal, call that in English. They're active during the day, so they do get exposed to sunlight. And I've just read in that reptile veterinarian book that even snakes do have a higher amount of vitamin D3 when they are exposed to UVB lighting. So the saying that snakes don't actually need UVB light, I think it's just not correct. It is taking a little piece of information and then making that true in order to keep this hobby more affordable to keep, right? Because if you have a UVB light in every reptile rack, that would be a bit costly. And sure, the snakes are doing fine, but they obviously are not doing perfect. And we might need to do something about it. And maybe we even can do something about it, but I've read a little bit in the book, and it was quite clear to me that I need to read a lot more before I can, if I'm actually are able to give you a reason why. I don't think I can, because I couldn't find it fast in the book. But if I can, I think we do need to do some testing, and then it's also, it would be pretty hard to prove that it got better. That it would even be hard to prove that it got better, right? Because there might be other factors at play on why egg laying goes better in one season than another. But anyway, let's get back to the main reason why I thought I had the problem, and I thought I knew why he was giving those calcium shots. Our snakes, or my snakes, don't come in contact with natural sunlight. They also don't have a UVB lighting. Where do they get their vitamin D3 from? Well, they get them from the rodents they eat, right? They eat whole prey items, and those animals also have vitamin D3 in there. But where do they get it from? Because they don't see natural sunlight either. And I don't think they get it from the food, or not nearly enough. So I don't think my reptiles get enough vitamin D3. That might be the problem. And now you're asking yourself, how can vitamin B3 be a cause then of having problems laying eggs? Well, I made some notes, and I will read it to you. And I found these notes in a part of the book that's called parathyroid glands, vitamin D3, and calcium homeostasis. So those three are all connected within reptiles, right? And it says that calcium is in the body, in the reptilian body, but also in our mammalian body, in two useful forms. They are either protein bound or ionized. And ionized basically means that it was a salt that is now dissolved. So if you take kitchen salt, that's sodium. Is it sodium? Yeah, sodium chloride. But it is together. It's in a crystal. And if you dissolve it in water, you have sodium ions and chlorine ions. If you have a calcium salt that is dissolved, you have some calcium ions. That's basically what it means. So that ionized calcium plays a lot of major roles in the body. But the two most important things I think for this exact topic is the muscle contractions and hormone release. Now, muscle contractions might be, that's important, but I think for that to be a problem, you would probably have to have a very severe deficiency, so you can get some spasms, and that can actually happen with humans as well, right? You can get some spasms, and that's all because of vitamin D3 deficiency. But hormone release might be a little bit more subtle, because that comes into play in humans first, right? First, your hormone balance is getting out of balance with any type of deficiency, and then long after that, the more severe things come to play. So maybe the contraction inducers, the normal contraction inducers, aren't brought out a lot, or aren't produced or released enough due to calcium deficiency or ionized calcium deficiency, or which was triggered by a vitamin D3 deficiency. Maybe that might be the issue, and I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I really have to do a lot more reading, and if I find out that might be true, I will come up with a way to safely give my snakes vitamin D3, because you don't want to overdo it. They can get really sick from too much vitamin D3. But also to just give you a clear picture, because I thought, okay, low hanging fruit first, right? Let's get a book, go to the index, go check on egg bound or egg laying problems or egg retention, and then see from there, maybe it's already mentioned that it might be a vitamin D3 deficiency or some other type of deficiency, so I could just tell you and fix the problems. But no, I did find eggs in the index, and then under eggs, a lot of things you can do with eggs, and then laying and failure. I said, aha, that's where I need to be. So I flipped to the page, and it was only about tortoises. Merde. So I wanted to flip back to the index, because it was actually quite close to the end of the book, so close to the index. And I just by accident flipped on the page that has the problem named dystocia. Dystocia apparently is a medical term for the failure of laying a part of the entire clutch or embryos. Just to give you a example on the level of English that the book is written in. So it's not easy for me. English is not my first language, first of all. Also, I'm not nearly as smart to be able to read that level of Dutch even. So let alone English. And also it is written for people who are already veterinarians and want to specialize in reptiles. So all the medical terms and diseases and everything is in Latin. You know, all the organs are in Latin names. It's not a easy read through if you want to find something. There is a lot of very good information because it's written by a lot of very good and specialized veterinarians and other specialists in their field of knowledge. But it is also not written for normal people like me and maybe you. So that got pretty clear to me pretty fast. Also, I used the book before and I already knew that. So I will do a lot of reading on vitamin D3 and the calcium homeostasis, and maybe we can find a clue in there. And if not, by the end I've written those 4 main pages about the what was the gland again? It's tough. It's the parathyroid gland, vitamin D3 and calcium homeostasis. After I've read that whole chapter and looked up almost 80% of the words, then diving more deeply into that, by the end of that I think I know a fair bit about the parathyroid glands, vitamin D3 and calcium homeostasis in reptiles, and I think I can make an in-depth video on that subject, so it wouldn't be wasteful after that, even if the answer isn't in there and we still have to look for other things. I wanted this video to be quick. I think I'm already talking like 15 minutes. I'm very sorry. I found apparently it's pretty hard to make short videos for me. Let's try harder next time, right? Well, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you've learned something. Wait, the key thing I wanted to give away with this video, the sole reason why I wanted to give this video, not because I thought, oh, I'm so smart, I found the reason this happened. That wasn't the main part of the video, the main message of this video. The main message of this video was, or I wanted it to be anyway, if you have a snake that has retained a part of the clutch, don't panic, try to push it out immediately. Try whatever you may have seen on YouTube, or just give it some time, because sometimes they can get the eggs out. Actually, most of the time they can get it out. They just need a break and get it out. That egg has been dead though. I always put them in the incubator. If they come out the next day, I always put them in the incubator. You don't want to throw away an embryo because you think it's already dead, right? But it's probably already suffocated. But most of the time they can get it out. And if you see progress, like I saw, the eggs coming back further every day. As long as you see progress, let her do her thing. Because if you intervene, putting, even if it's medical grade lubrication or lube into the cloaca and into the tubes that the egg come through, I don't know the medical terms, the tubes that the eggs come through before they are in the big open scary world. Everything you do in there gives a risk of you inducing bacteria or other things that can get infected. And if you push it on the eggs can break. That happened to me once, to be honest. Before I took her to the vet, I thought, well, maybe I can just push it out. Couldn't get it out. Called the vet, said, no problem, come here. No, sorry, he already gave her the shots. Didn't help. So I thought, well, maybe I'm just gonna push it out. Tried really hard, didn't push it out. And then after we gave her anesthesia and put in the loop and massaged it out, 2 of those eggs were actually broken, and I think that was my fault. Luckily, nothing really bad came from it, but it's easy to break those eggs. If you pick up a freshly laid egg, they are really squishy and soft, and you can easily break them. And if they are broken, it might be easier for her to get them out, but also the contents of the eggs can start to rot if she can't clear it out fast enough or fully. So you can induce more problems than you resolve by acting too fast. If you see progress, let her do her own thing. Snakes don't die all the time in nature from egg bound, right? So don't intervene too quickly. That was the main message of this video, actually. I'm going to edit it in front because almost nobody watches to the end. So I'm going to edit it in front so the message doesn't get lost. Right, now I'm going to leave you to it. Enjoy the rest of your day, or good night if you watch this before bed. And thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'd like to see you in the next one. Bye.